Alcohol is the most harmful substance on Earth. Every single year, it kills more people than terrorism, wars, homicides, and car accidents combined. That's right. Every time humans raise a glass to health, millions are literally being poisoned to death. Bravo, humanity! And yet, more than 2 billion people drink. 2 billion! You can't even imagine a barbecue without beer, or a wedding without wine, or a fancy soiree without champagne. It's so normal that refusing a drink almost feels weirder than having one. You guys drink because it's Friday, you drink after work, you drink when you're stressed, and also when you're relaxed. You drink when you're sad, and definitely when you're happy. Basically, you've managed to turn alcohol into the universal accessory for human emotion. But here's the paradox. This liquid is literally caramel-flavored poison. It wrecks your brain, shrinks your neurons, and slowly rots your organs from the inside out. And somehow, you toast with it, you laugh with it, you even write poems and songs glorifying it. So the question isn't just why do humans drink? The question is, why do humans cling so desperately to something they know will hurt them? Why make a pact with poison and then call it tradition, culture, even love? I'm Nutty, and today we're diving headfirst into humanity's messiest love affair. Spoiler alert, it's not just about getting drunk. It's about biology, psychology, and your desperate need to feel less awkward at parties. Cheers, I guess. So, what exactly is alcohol? Well, it's not some magical potion gifted by the gods. It's actually a biological weapon. Yeast invented it to kill off competition during fermentation. Yep, when tiny fungi eat sugar, they poop out alcohol, basically chemical warfare in a glass. Humanity just decided to drink it and call it a good time. Once you take a sip, trillions, no, sectillions of alcohol molecules rush into your stomach and small intestine. They don't politely wait their turn. They flood your bloodstream like an invading army. Their first stop? The liver, your body's main detox center. The problem is, your liver can only process about 1 sip of beer every 5 minutes. So unless you drink at the speed of a snail, your liver is quickly overwhelmed. And that means the rest of your body, including your brain, gets caught in the chemical storm. This is where the fun begins. In your brain, alcohol acts like a sloppy saboteur. It numbs your neurons, slows down their signals, and scrambles their communication lines. Scientists are still untangling all the details, but here's what we know. It sedates you, melting away tension and stress. It stuns your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that controls decision-making and self-control, so you become more impulsive. And it triggers the release of endorphins, those warm, fuzzy molecules you also produce when laughing, singing, or dancing. In other words, alcohol makes your brain feel like it just had the best karaoke night ever, even if you're alone in your kitchen at 2 a.m. That's why after a drink or 3, the world feels lighter. But not just lighter, lighter with others. The invisible walls of social anxiety start to crumble. Suddenly, you're brave enough to talk to strangers, sing badly in public, or tell your friends you love them. Conversations flow, smiles stretch longer, and even awkward silences feel less terrifying. Alcohol is basically a social lubricant in liquid form. It's like WD-40 for human interaction. Of course, this doesn't come without glitches. Your brain on alcohol isn't just relaxed, it's also compromised. That liquid courage might make you feel unstoppable, but it's also why you text your ex, dance on tables, or attempt parkour after 2 margaritas. Spoiler, you're not Spider-Man. You're just drunk. And yet, for a while, it feels good. You're less afraid of judgment, less weighed down by insecurity, more connected to the humans around you. It's like sharing the burden of existence with a chemical friend who whispers, "Don't worry, everything's fine, you're awesome, and yes, that song really is about you." So, in the short term, alcohol delivers exactly what humans crave: relaxation, courage, and belonging. It gives you the illusion of being a little more you, just without the awkwardness and hesitation. The catch? Your liver, your brain, and every cell in your body are paying the bill while you party. But we'll get to that mess in a moment. For now, just remember, Alcohol is not just a drink, it's yeast's murder weapon, rebranded by humanity as Friday Night Fun. So now we know alcohol is yeast's murder juice that humans decided to sip like a fine delicacy. But here's the real question. Why do we like it so much? The short answer? Because alcohol solves one of humanity's oldest problems. Other humans. Think about it. Social interaction is messy. You want connection, but you're also insecure. Do they like me? Am I talking too much? What if I say something stupid? Your brain is basically a never-ending anxiety generator, and alcohol, bless its toxic little heart, temporarily shuts that noise off. One drink and suddenly you're smoother, wittier, maybe even charming, or at least you think you are. That's why alcohol is often called a social lubricant. It softens the awkward edges between people. Suddenly, strangers become drinking buddies, colleagues become karaoke partners, and that random person you just met at a wedding, now they're the love of your life. At least until the hangover. But it's not just psychology, it's culture. From the dawn of civilization, humans have woven alcohol into their rituals and celebrations. Ancient Egyptians brewed beer as part of daily life. Greeks and Romans poured wine at religious festivals. Medieval Europeans basically drank beer instead of water because the water could kill you faster. For thousands of years, alcohol wasn't just a drink, it was sacred, social, and sometimes even safer than the alternative. Fast forward to today, weddings, birthdays, New Year's Eve, promotions, funerals, you name it, there's a drink for it. If life has a milestone, humans raise a glass. It's like alcohol became the unofficial co-star of the human experience. And here's the thing, it works. Studies show that modest amounts of alcohol really do help people bond. Friends feel closer, trust levels rise, laughter comes easier. In other words, humans traded years of their lives for a shortcut to friendship. It's not logical, but it is deeply human. Of course, alcohol's role isn't just bonding, it's also courage. Let's be honest, a huge percentage of relationships, hookups, and even marriages probably owe their existence to liquid bravery. How many love stories started with, well, I only had the guts to talk to them after 3 shots? Probably millions. So why do people keep drinking despite the risks? Because alcohol doesn't just get you tipsy, it gives you what your brain craves: confidence, connection, celebration. It turns insecurity into boldness, strangers into friends, and awkward silence into shared laughter. In other words, alcohol isn't just a beverage, it's liquid courage, it's liquid confidence, it's liquid belonging. Of course, every shortcut comes with a price tag. And spoiler alert, the bill is steep. But that's next part. All right, time to ruin the party. Because while alcohol may feel like a magical potion that makes humans friendlier, funnier, and braver, it's also quietly destroying you from the inside out. Let's start with the biology. Alcohol is sneaky. It can dissolve in both water and fat, which means it can invade almost every cell in your body. Once inside, your liver tries to break it down, but the byproduct is acetaldehyde, a chemical even more toxic than alcohol itself. Imagine alcohol as a vandal and acetaldehyde as the arsonist it brought along. Together, they wreak havoc on tissues, cells, and even DNA. Your brain? It literally shrinks. Neurons die, connections weaken, communication slows, memories fade, thinking dulls, and your risk of dementia skyrockets. Drink heavily in your teens or early 20s before your brain wiring is complete, and it's like smashing wet cement before it sets. Whole pathways get messed up for years. Blackout drinking in your 20s can cause memory and learning issues that last an entire year. Congratulations, you just traded your short-term courage for a long-term brain fog. And then there's cancer. Just as smoking fries your lungs, alcohol increases the risk for 8 different types of cancer, from mouth to bowel to breast cancer. The risk starts below a single glass of wine per day. That's right, less than 1 glass. Worldwide, alcohol causes around 740,000 new cancer cases every year, leading to 400,000 deaths. Next up, the liver. Your poor liver is basically the janitor of your body, forced to mop up the toxic mess every time you drink. First, fat builds up, then inflammation, eventually scarring. The final stage is cirrhosis. Your liver becomes a useless lump of scar tissue. Every year, about 600,000 people die from livers destroyed by alcohol. But alcohol doesn't stop there. It weakens your heart, raises blood pressure, increases the risk of stroke and thrombosis, another 500,000 deaths annually. It also wrecks your looks, damaging skin cells, aging you faster, and adding weight because alcohol is both calorie-rich and an appetite booster. Humanity's favorite beauty hack? Apparently looking older and puffier while killing your organs. And then we step outside your body because alcohol doesn't just kill you, it kills everyone around you. Drunk driving alone claims 300,000 lives each year. And here's the kicker. More than half of those people weren't even drinking. They just had the bad luck of crossing paths with someone who did. Add in another 200,000 deaths from other alcohol-fueled accidents, and you've got 500,000 people gone because someone wanted just one more round. Violence? Same story. About half of all violent crimes and sexual assaults worldwide involve drunk offenders. That's 100,000 murders and millions of assaults each year, all thanks to alcohol. In England alone, 500,000 adults are injured annually in accidents caused by drunk people, and another 800,000 are hurt in violent attacks by drunk offenders. Scale that globally, and we're talking tens of millions of victims who didn't even order a drink. And let's not forget the most innocent victims, babies. Every year, around 600,000 infants are born with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, condemned to lifelong disability because their mothers drank during pregnancy. Imagine starting life with a disadvantage because of someone else's toast. So yeah, alcohol isn't just a personal health hazard, it's a global catastrophe, a party trick that kills millions, ruins families, and costs societies billions. But the cruel genius of alcohol is that it hides all this behind laughter, songs, and clinking glasses. It convinces you it's just harmless fun while silently chiseling years off your life. It's the world's most socially acceptable serial killer, disguised as a cocktail umbrella. And yet, humans still drink. Which brings us to the next paradox. If alcohol is so deadly, why is it so hard to quit? So, if alcohol is basically poison in a pretty glass, why don't humans just stop? Easy answer, because quitting alcohol isn't just about health. It's about culture, habit, and addiction all tangled together. First, culture. Unlike other drugs, alcohol is socially blessed. No one bats an eye when you order a drink at dinner. In fact, saying no often raises more eyebrows than saying yes. Try refusing champagne at a wedding, you'll be treated like you just insulted the bride. Humans have turned alcohol into the ultimate social permission slip. It's acceptable at birthdays, funerals, office parties, Tuesday nights, you name it. No other drug gets this level of cultural free pass. Second, habit. Drinking isn't usually a one-off event. It's repeated, ritualized, normalized. A glass after work, a pint on Friday, a toast at every celebration. Over time, what started as occasional fun becomes a ritual your brain associates with relaxation, reward, or belonging. Break that routine, and suddenly your evenings feel emptier, your weekends quieter, your friendships awkward. It's not just the drink you miss, it's the role it played in your life. And then comes the trap, dependence. About 400 million people worldwide have crossed the invisible line into alcoholism. For many, it's not dramatic. They're not homeless, not violent, not stumbling in the street. They're functioning professionals, parents, students, people who hold it together. But they average 4 beers a day, get drunk every weekend, and quietly march their organs toward destruction. Half of them may never even realize they're dependent because society reassures them. It's just a drink. Everyone does it. This is alcohol's cruel genius. Cocaine users get judged. Heroin users get shunned. But wine at dinner? Totally normal. Beer after work? Practically a tradition. The very fact that alcohol is legal, cheap, and everywhere makes it harder to resist and easier to ignore the damage. So why is it so hard to quit? Because humans didn't just make alcohol part of their lives. They made it part of their identity. To stop drinking isn't just giving giving up a beverage. It feels like giving up culture, connection, and comfort. In short, alcohol isn't just in the glass. It's in the rituals, the relationships, the stories humans tell themselves, which makes walking away from it a lot harder than just saying no. But here's the plot twist. Humans might finally be breaking up with alcohol. Well, sort of. Younger generations, especially Gen Z, are drinking far less than their parents or grandparents. In the US, the percentage of 18-year-olds who have ever tried alcohol has dropped by 25% over the last few decades. Binge drinking among teenagers? Down by half. Even in countries where beer and wine are practically cultural DNA, Germany, France, Italy, consumption is shrinking. On paper, this is a massive win. Fewer accidents, fewer ER visits, fewer livers quietly collapsing. Imagine a future with fewer drunk drivers, fewer fights outside pubs, fewer funerals cut short. That's good news, right? Well, yes and no, because while the drinking goes down, so does something else: human connection. Studies show that the share of young people who see their friends almost every day has fallen by 50%. Party attendance is down 30%. Dating and casual sex have dropped just as much. At the same time, loneliness and mental health struggles are spiking. So yes, you dodged cirrhosis, but now you're sitting alone at home scrolling TikTok at 3 a.m. Congratulations! And of course, it's not like Gen Z went totally sober. Other substances, like weed, have taken a bigger role. The difference? Weed tends to chill people out, sometimes to the point of isolation. Instead of karaoke night, you get quiet couch sessions. Instead of messy bonding at a party, you get introspection and maybe existential dread. So the big paradox flips. Alcohol brought humans together while slowly killing them. Now, avoiding alcohol might help them live longer, but lonelier. The question is, what comes next? If humanity wants the perks of connection without the poison, it needs new rituals, new ways to bond, celebrate, and loosen up without chemical crutches. Maybe it's gaming, maybe it's sports, maybe it's community projects or passion-driven meetups. Or maybe humans will just invent the next socially acceptable drug, hopefully one that doesn't destroy your liver. Either way, alcohol's cultural monopoly is fading. For the first time in thousands of years, humans are rewriting the rules of how they celebrate, connect, and belong. Whether that's progress or just a trade-off, well, that's still up for debate. So here's the paradox in one sentence. Alcohol is both humanity's oldest social glue and its slowest poison. It makes people laugh, sing, confess, and connect while quietly chiseling years off their lives. It's the ultimate trade-off, a few moments of courage in exchange for a lifetime of risk. For thousands of years, humans have raised their glasses to celebrate victories, mourn losses, and bond with strangers. And in return, alcohol has taken their memories, their health, and sometimes their lives. It's like humanity signed a contract without reading the fine print. Spoiler, the fine print says this will cost you everything. But maybe that's changing. Maybe future generations will figure out how to connect without poisoning themselves. Or maybe they'll just find a new chemical crutch. Either way, alcohol has shaped human history more than almost any invention, ritual, or technology. Love it or hate it, you can't tell the story of humanity without it. So next time someone says, "Let's have a drink," remember, you're not just sipping a beverage. You're sipping the world's most socially accepted toxin, wrapped in tradition and sprinkled with endorphins. I'm Nutty, smart, smug, and just a little too adorable for you to stay mad at. And to humanity, I only have one thing left to say: bravo!